recording here. Also, I just realized I never properly prepped. Okay, there's a few things. I'm behind on a few things here. So let's go ahead and first off get the prediction up. That way you guys can start interacting with the battle here. This is going to be EU round 1. Blue 4 is attacking, Op 4 is defending. I'll set it for 20 minutes to let you guys go at it for that. I got to move my disk drive over because I was prepping the boot system, or excuse me, the boot drive for my new computer. I had a faulty wire in there, and I was actually scared for a few days because I tried to boot her up to get to the BIOS because then I had to update something on the BIOS to make the RAM sticks compatible. And I had some sort of short circuit somewhere, but it powered up and then just shut off again. So it was one of the power cords to the graphics card, I think, finally got it to boot properly after changing that cord out with one of the backups. But that was a little worrisome there because I had no idea what the hell was wrong. But after day 3 of just ripping out cords and replacing them randomly, I figured that out. And there we go. We are on the first round here. Oh God. Wait a second. Hold up. I still have... You hear monkey noises because I accidentally left my TFAR plugin on, and people are making little jokes here. And my TeamSpeak is crashing out. All right, give me one moment. I gotta go back into my channel and disable that TFAR plugin. Leave it to some people to make monkey noises as they come into this operation, but I digress. Let me go ahead and clear out my DMs on Twitch. All right. Tabbing back in, here is the first round, guys. I'm going to over at our mission brief. This was made by Mr. Depso. I also call him Mr. Despacito because I always would say his name as Despo instead of Depso. But we see him as in OFCRA as well, which, by the way, OFCRA took a 2-week break off. They will be resuming next Thursday, which is why you haven't seen them. Anyway, really simple mission. U.S. attempts to capture Russian-controlled positions. I mean, you can't get any more simple than that. It's going to be a classic U.S. versus Russia op, which is something we always see from time to time to, just open up the evening with just a classic matchup. Also, we just saw 2 of the admins get kicked off of FNF. That's cute. The virus is working. Anyway, Malin, you're next. Anyway. Let's go ahead and go into our game mode here. So it's 3 caches. Caches are going to be the simple FIA vanilla caches. Otherwise, mission variables here, it's 1,500 meters, view distance. Hi, Malin. He's always watching. No magnified optics nor NVG equipment, and the defender build points are at 140. Bit of a weird number because the default is usually at 125. I think Depso just did that to be himself. Otherwise, both sides have 2 RPG rounds per AT weapon. I guess AT rounds would be the proper term. I said that because Op 4 is going to be rocking the RPG-32. Blue 4 is going to be rocking the M3 Mods. Since we're over at Op 4, let's go ahead and have a look at them first. It's the modern-day Russian EMR camouflage. Their designated marksman rifle is going to be an SVD. And their UGL system for underbarrel grenade launch is going to be the GP25 system, which these aren't mentioned in the loadout, which is why I mentioned them specifically. Otherwise, you have modernized AK-74s to take Western optics, if they are given as the option, or at least, ×1 scopes like CCOs and whatnot, to kind of level the playing field. But they also have the option to take Eastern ones with the UK model because they get a choice of these weapons depending on their class. Otherwise, machine guns are going to be an RPK for the LMG, PKP for the medium machine gun. Light anti-tank is going to be a single-shot disposable RPG-26. Is there an X-ray on tonight? I do not see X-ray on Op 4, and I do not see an X-ray on Blue 4, so we don't have to cover Recon, because Recon is X-ray. Crew and Aviation are going to be given the choice of either PP2000, which is the modernized PPSH, or the AKS-74 UN model. Nothing on crew-served weapons. Their assets are literally 4 standing Dishka turrets with 50-round boxes and 5 mags each, so 250 rounds total, and 2 transport gases. Interesting call there. Looking over at the faction breakdown, we have as follows. We have Shy commanding. Also, the branch is a little smaller than usual. Let me look at the total player count. Oh, no, I stand corrected. We're at 104 players tonight. Literally 10 minutes ago, we were only up to like 74, so those guys came in very quickly, I guess, as the evening started, but I digress. Shy is going to be commanding here. Alpha is going to be led by Ash. Alpha 1 only has Nafs, Not Falcon, and Stark together. Really powerful combat, how do I put it? Really powerful combo there, because Nafs is a great lone wolf player. They're not allowed to lone wolf, but you know what I mean, in a small group with people that can really mobilize with them. Nafs can do a lot of damage. He's really good at maneuvering in the middle of enemy squads and just popping heads. But he's with Not Falcon and Stark, who are two also really, really good Lone Wolf style players. And I got to be careful when I use that term because in FNF it's illegal to Lone Wolf. It gets you banned. Has gotten a few of these players in trouble in the past for reasons I won't go into. But if you have a community like Pepega Pirates, where they're all really good Lone Wolf style players, but when they all have that level of mobility to move out and do a lot of momentum to get in the middle of enemy lines and just slaughter everyone, you want to see them grouping together like this because then they have the authority to do something like that, to literally move in the middle of the enemy line and just slaughter. So I'm going to be really curious to see how Alpha 1 handles things tonight. Otherwise, they're paired with some more traditional players, such as Wheaton, Arcor, and Maz, Banks, Tackleberry, and Eric Kiru, all being led by, it looks like, Wheaton. So that should be interesting. I could see a really good strategy being done here with these guys setting up the base of fire, and then these guys being the maneuvering team just to go in and slaughter everyone. I'll be really curious to see who they're fighting against because I'm seeing some names here, which means on the other team we might see some other names that are able to counter it. But as I wait here, we see Bayans also showing up on Alpha 2. Again, one of the really good solo players, if not the best in this game mode here. Otherwise, Azariah from Scandi Recon, arguably the best community in FNF. Leading Bravo HQ. Yanni, who I believe is on the multi-Twitch, by the way, going to be leading Bravo with Iander, Whiplash, Perton, and Nemesis under him. Nimia leading Bravo 2 with Cullis Casual, Grav, and Cats. Don't get me wrong, these guys are not technically a part of Scandi, but they always play with them, so they do have that Scandi mentality, and you do see them get really, really in-depth with some of their strategies here. Because Scandi, I would say, is definitely one of the, I would say, the best blend of communities between a casual community, but a serious community that blends in the tactics of a serious community, but the skill that you would find in some casual communities like Pepega. Otherwise, you got Tilsitter leading Charlie, Seismo leading Charlie 1, 3 Pers Lolo, and Andre. Charlie 2 being led by Pro Hunter with Aim with the Stars. Oh, he changed it! He changed it! Yes, it's Aim with the Balls again. But the balls is censored. Solomons, Thompson, and Mike. Delta HQ being led by Newton. Delta 1 being led by Khalil with Nikolai. Ali Pose, Blas, Heartseer, Rodrigue, and Hayes. And then you got Delta 2 being led by Patriot with Mutant and G-Legs under him. So some really good players here. They're also on the defense side, which I'll admit, the best players playing defense, the reason they're the best is because they're really good at their maneuvering abilities and their abilities to get a lot of overkilling, to get some really high KDs. So defense isn't the best place to see them, but if they ever try to attempt a counterattack, they could do quite well. Also, this AO is quite interesting, but we'll get into that. Let's go ahead and look over at the Blue 4 roster real quick today. What do we got? Checking our time real quick. We still got 9 minutes. Perfect. Blue 4 are going to be using the Marine Recon Force camouflages, basically modern US gear. They're going to mostly have M4s, but they also get the M27, which is the full auto version of the M4. And then their support weapons are going to include for the UGL, the 203 system. Actually, I'd have to check. I think it's a 203 to be compatible with M4s. I don't think the I-27, or the M27 IAR, excuse me, has that system. But yeah, no, it's a 203, which means they got to be careful with their top sights because the top sights interfere with the GL sight of that gun. But they're also going to have the Mark 11, I forget the exact designation, but it's a 7.62 by 51 chambered battle rifle with 20-round magazines that is generally used as a marksman rifle. Otherwise, the remaining weaponry, they got the 249 and 240 Gulf, respectively. Light Ants, I think, is going to be the AT-4, also known as the M136. And then Crew and Aviation slots get a choice of an MP7 or an M4A1. That MP7 could come in really handy in these more CQC-esque scenarios, but that's going to be up to the pilots to take. Also, I mean, with that UH-60, we'll check its ammo count real quick, but that's also going to be very, very useful looking over at the assets because there's no crew-served weapons. You have the UH-60 here. It's going to have 4,000 rounds. Oh, God. So it's got 8,000 rounds total of 7.62 by 5.1 NATO. That's... Whew. Also, I'm not sure if I said 5.4 or 5.1 for the Mark 11, but it's 5.1, not 5.4, my bad. We've got a transport truck. You got five more transport trucks of a different type, 2 speedboat miniguns, and I think that is a mistake right there. I don't see them ever doing GMGs, grenade machine guns, on the Mark 19, so that might have been rescripted to be something else. But I know the command minigun turret for the back is definitely fair game. Multiple RHIBs, and then 2 additional transport trucks there. Looking over at Blue for commanding, we have Pierce. Oh, boy, it's a Pierce play. All right, here's the deal about Pierce. This isn't me being mean. This is me just being completely honest with you guys. Pierce, great squad leader. I've seen him lead 1RW in a lot of crazy engagements. Again, Milsim community that has really good tactics, and they can kick a lot of ass, especially in Viralati, which is the map we're on right now. I've seen him do really well. Pierce as a commander, he does some really exotic plays, and that is me being blunt. Pierce is the type of guy where I do not understand where he gets the logic from his plays, and sometimes they work out. Holy crap, do they work out. My favorite one is he put a lot of guys in this obscure position and somehow was able to counter the offensive faction when he was playing defense and fully ambush 2 squads and eliminate them within the first 10 minutes because the attacking commander decided to go this really obscure route, and Pierce was just in the perfect position to ambush him, but I have no idea how he saw that coming, because it was just pure luck. But when he strikes right, it strikes well. But he doesn't strike well often, or strike right often, excuse me. So be careful when you bet on Pierce, because he's either going to do really, really amazing, or we're all going to be face-palming going, what the heck is going on here, you know? But a commander is only as good as his soldiers under him. So it looks like we have Alpha all merged up together. Mittens leading Fred, Top Gun, Guardian, Shun, Roche, Azuki, Good Time Saddam, Wayne, Wise, Tenderbaner John, and Blam. Also, FYI, the letters are cut off. It's only when you highlight over that I see, but I've seen these people play for years, so I've memorized their names. Veltitarian leading Bravo HQ with Joseph and Ronnie under him. Looks like they're in crewman uniforms, both going with M4, so I'll be curious to see what Bravo's fielding in terms of that vehicle. We got Bravo 1 being led by Nemo here, with Skits, Fluffy, and Titonis under him. Flinja under... Yeah, Flinja. That's an interesting name. It's like a flunging ninja. Leading Daedalor, C4, Andiri, Zally, and Zombie Forever. Vagrant leading Charlie with Steve, Kabubi, Morgan, Seven, my bad. Mito, Dooley, and Lurch. Lacarford leading Delta HQ with Audi and Harvied, also taking crew slots. That's really interesting. I think they're taking crew slots for the boats to have dedicated boat teams, which is going to work out for them really well in this AO, and I'll get to that in a second. We still have 4 minutes, but I will hurry it up. Yuru leading Delta 1 with Dawidox, Leziak, Deska Keeper, Archer, and Potsny. Sushi leading Delta 2 with Albin, Depso, and Timek. Depso, again, is the guy that made this mission. But no, they've got a dedicated boat crew under Gamma, which is Norris, Bates, and Schult together. And then the air crew is going to be Circles, which I haven't seen flying before, so we'll see how he does, with Schneider and Holton under him as well. So I don't know what those dedicated Vic crews are going to be for. Probably, I guess, dedicated Trivers for various transport Vics, but that is a weird call. But go ahead, looking over at the final AOs here, you've got this first sector here. The ammo cache is tucked away in this area. Again, Blue 4 knows the area where it's hidden, but they don't know the exact spot, and anything that is blacked out on the map means it's a customly placed building, which refers to all of these pre-placed fortifications in this area. So this AO, little tough to hold to have these internal fortifications here, but with these forested areas and the roaming hills on Viralati, it's going to make it easy for Blue 4 to potentially get their forces right on top and close the CQC, where the defenders start losing their advantages of, just being able to suppress and engage forces as they push them. Otherwise, second objective is literally in a bit of a bunker line here. Not too bad, but these positions aren't in the best spots to actually really capitalize on the open area to the south. And then the west, you have this bunker right here, but it's not really close enough. Plus, there's a bit of a hill, and you see that there's been some additional fortifications placed by the defenders to help kind of cover this gap. But not the best spot either, especially on this hill that leaves a lot of room for Blue 4 to flank around and get onto it. Although it will be overwatched by this final sector, which in my opinion is the best one. Yes, it's in the middle of the open, but if you were to build some fortifications right around it, you could prevent this from getting sniped by AT4 or a boat coming in and just unloading on the minigun. So I think Op4 is actually going to ditch this objective outright. Probably going to see it sniped earlier in the mission. You do see some pre-placed bridges right here to let people go through, but I think Op4 is just going to commit to holding these 2 other cache sites, which is quite interesting. You could easily make an island defense lockdown like this and hold this one entrance. But I think Op4 is also worried about the firepower on the boats. Malin said earlier that the GMG was replaced by a 50 cal, which you gotta understand, that's the front turret, which you can auto range and fire. So this can be turned into a mobile sniper rifle. And with 50 cal, it's very, very accurate and very, very effective. So you have to be I think Op4, knowing that, has decided it's too risky to hold that one objective, and instead they're going to hold the objectives over on the mainland. I'm just really curious to see if Blue 4 is going to use any naval forces. It doesn't look like it, but, you know, if they were to do a naval push around, they could just flank on the northern side of Op4 and basically sweep them from across. So either way, this is going to be an interesting mission. Definitely a nice one to start off on for the week, or the Friday here, but... Op4 have the more powerful players. I was looking for Papega Pirates, and I don't see them on tonight. So with Scandi being top dog on tonight with nothing to really counter them, you really got to watch for where Scandi is. However, they're on defense, which isn't their strong suit, but we'll see if they're given any counter-attacking orders. I'd say Blue 4's biggest advantage is those boats with those 50 cals on them, but I don't see them being utilized effectively in the scenario that Op4 has set up here. And it looks like they're just doing a large defense around one of the objectives because they're also foregoing holding that one too. So it's an all eggs in one basket, hold one objective, and just do their best to cover it utilizing the forest around here. So I think that's probably the best strategy Op4 can do. The only counter would be... whatchamacallit? Trying to think here. Blue 4 probably landing on the back line with boats, but because they're not going to do that, I don't see how that's going to happen. All right, so you got Blue 4 deploying here. Helicopter doesn't have anyone except the crew, and then you also have another force coming up right here. So Blue 4 off the get-go is going to be splitting their force, probably to either put pressure on a flanking attack on the southernmost objective or to have this force come up on the side, dismount over here with overwatch from the boat and the helicopter, and just do a pincer attack opening to try to find a hole in Op4's line. All right. Now we just have to watch with bated breath, but let me catch up on the sub notifications. Dark Ranger, thanks for the 24-month reset. That gets you a new Lance Corporal badge as well. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. I hope you get a kick tonight for Friday night fights. Scrolling up, Uber Pyro, thanks for the 12-month reset as well. That also gets you the Lance Corporal badge. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I do hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Also, I missed a few hydrates, so let me catch up. All right, right here is where the first little bit of worry is. I think Op4 is going to be able to hold their distance. Does Iander have AT? Yes, he does. So Iander, he's one of the few players that I actively track when they have the medium anti-tank weapons because he can make some of the most beautiful shots ever. And he's already getting it out. If Blue 4 were to lose their boat early on, it would just mean Op4 have better control of their riverway on the northern side of their objective, and Op4 loses that ability, but I think they're just going for a rush right here. Yeah, so they're just going to let that pass. Blue 4 opting for 2 different dismount points, but looks like they're going to reform and probably just do a massive battle line into the air, which is not a bad plan. Only criticism I have is if you're going to do that, then why separate them in the first place? But it might have been because the vehicle assets spawned in 2 separate locations. Otherwise, I think Pierce would have just kept everything together. But if you had that option, then, you know, might as well use everything from both flanks. You just got to be careful when you do stuff like that. In this case, it's okay because Op4 didn't have any vehicles they could have used to immediately counterattack any convoys coming in. But if your opponent has the ability to do that type of counterattacking early on, you don't want to have all these different convoys coming from all these different routes because that increases the likelihood of Op4, should they go for something like that, to run into one of those convoys and get a lot of free kills early on and probably nullify your number advantage before you can even really get started. So that Blackhawk's flying way above. Helicopter you got to be a little careful about because if you keep flying it over your own troops, that also gives Op4 a hint of where your troops are coming from. So you just want to keep that in mind. All right, so we see a little bit of shots. Let me up my render distance here just so you can see both of these units start firing at each other. It looks like they're trying to engage the truck right there. Patriot immediately switches seats because he hears all the crackling of bullets are hitting around him. Then you got the boat coming around. But overall, I think Blue 4 is just trying to focus on gathering information, putting some red herrings out here to show that, you know, Blue 4 might be trying to put units on a different angle. That's going to cause Op 4 a little bit of confusion as they try to push units around as well. So I can see the strategy here. You know, put your helicopter on the northern side, put a boat on the northern side, make Op 4 turn forces around to try to see, oh, we being outflanked? And that's going to pull off all the bodies they can from an actual front line, which is where Pierce is trying to put his main forces up. And you already see the reaction here. A lot of Op 4 units are actually starting to push north right here, watching the waterways because they know a boat's coming, they know a helicopter is orbiting to the north. So in the long run, I don't think that's really going to help them out because Op 4 is just situated around this one objective, and they have a lot of fluidity to change positions and quickly set up new defensive lines. And Blue 4 is probably going to enjoy this objective first, but we'll just have to see how things go. You hear another Dishka firing. At this range, it's very unlikely for him to hit that helicopter, and they only have 250 rounds across 5 boxes. Plus, that helicopter's got 8,000 rounds between 2 miniguns. So I think the heli's going to win on that harassment. They really want to be saving those Dishkas, the Dishka rounds, because all they're doing is just burning ammo for no reason other than to show their position. It's also funny because Bloodwing's setting up her new work computer for school. Yes, Boop? Yep. She's trying to download Microsoft 365 because as a student she gets it for free. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. So she kept trying to install it and uninstall it and reinstall it because she has the proper product for it and she was about to buy it, but then it magically started working because you know how school is. Prediction is open. It should be closed by now. It's been 20 minutes, plus nothing major has happened to really skewer the prediction. I know sometimes we run the prediction for a little too long, excuse me, and by then something major happens and it stems the tide. Sometimes I refund it at that point because it wasn't fair, but this one, I mean, Op 4 have set up their main defensive position. Blue 4 is doing their main attack strategy. I don't really think anyone's been picked off yet on either side, so now it's just a holding game. But yeah, it does sound like Microsoft, definitely. By the way, latest Discord scam has been people randomly trying to get you in Discords that offer, I think, what, like sex videos or something? Because I just had a notification hit me for one of those. So make sure you're not clicking on random Discord invites by random strangers because that's how they get your get into your account. I think the standard way they do it, though, is they force you to log out and then re-log in on a corrupted, I forget the specific file name, but that's how they get your username and password, steal your account, and then they turn your account to a bot account to spread everything. So, be careful. So, Blue 4 are showing their hand here. I think they might have seen Reapers and a few other people up here and started firing, or at least done some suppressing fire, because there's no reason to open up with suppressing fire. But I do appreciate what these guys are doing going in. You got some GLs going in as well. You got this other pincer maneuvering. So Op 4 now trying to set up on positions where they can, wow, get some really great lines of fire on the flanks of Blue 4's pushing. They knocked out Azuki here. You got some return fire coming in. As you have Charlie 2 trying to set up right here and engage. But they're also taking heavy fire and potentially pulling back. They do have one of the Dishkas over here, though. So if they can readjust it, they could get it on a good angle. But now look at all the smoke. Blue 4 is popping here to try to conceal themselves in their advance. Again, neither side, I believe, has had a KIA yet, but there have been some pretty close calls. Even a few people that are down and unconscious. Oh, Neon, don't worry, man. Bloodwing sometimes tells me about fake phishing emails that the company she works for sends around to test people, and they are some of the funniest things I've ever seen. And they still trick people. So it's just some people, you know, especially boomers. Yeah, you got a marksman rifle. This one, the Mark 11s, 20 rounds, 7.62x51. You got an E-Clan scope right there, which is giving him, I think, a 4x magnification. And he's trying to find a line to pick off some of these people. I just heard AT fire. That is because I think Iander just tried to snipe the boat as these guys are getting harassed by said boat, but it was a miss. You know, based on that firepower, and that's not a 50 cal, that is, they're both 7.62 by 5.1 miniguns, but even then, you can still auto-range the weapon from that attack platform. You also see a little bit of blood here, which indicates they have been getting shot. Alright. I was kind of hoping Iander would pull out and do another AT shot, but I guess we're going to be a little teased here this morning. Why did I say this morning? It's literally the afternoon, but hey, for some of you, it might be the morning somewhere. It's because the timing on the server is morning, that's why. So we see that Archer here got hit, excuse me. Op4 have taken 1 KIA here. That's Reapers who got a kill on someone. Meanwhile, Blue 4 lost Depso, who might have gotten killed by Reapers. Archer is down. And that is it. So both sides have only had 1 KIA so far. Blue 4 is going to maintain that 8% numbers advantage. In the meantime, we need to see some of these remaining guys here either pull back or get some multi-kills. But Solomon right there is not going to get that. I think he just traded with another guy here as well. You see some stray bullets coming around from over here as well. Okay, Sushi accidentally put that UGL a little close. And hurt his guys. You got to be careful with that fragmentation because it is pretty effective at its range. We got some more suppressive fire coming out right here. Falcon's just hiding in concealment because he knows he's going to be safe. Otherwise, his team of 3 are just staying back here, and he's now trying to put pot shots. It's night in Paris, yeah, I know. Little slip of the tongue. He's under fire from 2 miniguns, and Falcon just does not give a damn. He's literally just behind a tree. No care in the world. I love it. So, I mean, let's quickly look back, because if those guns are both the same, we can actually look at the assets and see how much rounds they have. So they have 4,000 rounds total, 2,000 per gun. So they have a lot that they can just burn. Looks like Andre and Sismo are here. I just saw a GL fire. Or I heard one. And it lands a little short. But yeah, these guys are probably going to get... No, they're mag dumping the cache. All right. Random crossfires here as they're starting to take fire from the hilltop as well. Zen gets cut up. A little bit of confusion on the Blue 4 line because we keep seeing them firing at random positions. Right now they're also mag dumping this area. There's the cache being destroyed. Great grenade throw right here. But now you've got Andre and Sismo. They're holding this line of cover here with all these pine trees as concealment. They are picking off a few guys though. They just have to keep it up. Yeah, as they try to pull back, they might expose themselves, so they need to be careful. Great grenade throw, killing Sismo right there. I believe that was Sushi. However, we sometimes don't always see grenade kills because if it was done by fragmentation instead of the actual explosion, it doesn't count it to them. Andre getting in 2 pickoffs right there. Only to be GL'd by Sushi, but it was just short. So he's now suppressing that pine tree. You got the Dishka now firing over here. Just saw a blood splatter from one of the bodies as Andre continues to push back. These are the types of kills they need to be getting. And when I say they here, I mean Op4, as they have their small teams basically act as picket lines. Great idea by Dawadox to hit this with AT. You're also seeing some some GLs coming in. Andre is a medic though, so he can self-blood bag and he can heal himself over time. So if he needs it, he can just give himself an 1,000 milliliter blood bag and keep running and pretty much negate damage. Oh, so that's another hydrate. So you can hear one of those Dishkas continuing the fire, looking at the rest of the map here. Some of the Overwatch elements are now pulling over to start flanking this area. Another pickoff. That was either by Mike or Thompson, possibly Thompson. He is on a kill. Let's check Mike's kill count as well. He's on none, so probably that was Thompson firing. Andre, though, on a roll as he continues to pull back. You see him bleeding. He's on 3 kills. But, I mean, if everyone in his 4-man team operated like that, you would see at least 9 less Blue 4 here. So now it's a little worrisome for Blue 4, but Op 4 is already starting to pull their picket forces back to hold the line here. You have a small team holding this one position. They gotta be careful though, because this one can be sniped from the boats or the helicopter flying around if they spot it outright, but that probably won't happen until late game. Andre getting caught in the open here. He might be out of smoke grenades, so he is just trying to serpentine that movement. The boat is all the way back at the harbor. Oh, they ran out of ammo, but there's 2 boats, so they're getting the other boat so they can use full magazines again and continue to harass. Not a bad strat, but that also tells you why they only took one of the 2 boats and crewed only one of the 2, so they could use it for later. Yeah, so Andre is going to be back here. You see he got hit again, but since he has that medical bag, it indicates he's a medic. Also clicking on him, you see the medical symbol right there, so he's going to be able to pretty much patch himself up. So yeah, the boat can continue to harass forces on the northern side of this AO, and we'll see how things go. I'm talking with people on Discord over various random things as we wait for the next bout of Blue 4 to come in. But look at this. So Op4 already sighting some of these forces coming up. Another hydrate, you got it. So that's already causing them to pop some of their smoke grenades early. They got to be careful because they're going to need a lot of smokes to push this position. This is a massive open area here. The only safe route is flanking around, but Op4 does have a picket force right here. And the boat's coming around again, so we'll see if they try to burn any AT. But with Blue 4 taking out that first cache, you got Charlie all the way over here doing this wide flank. Maybe they'll try to go up and hit the final area. But this is where the main bloodbath's going to be. Blue 4 got to figure out their where their friendly forces are, because you just saw some overlapping fire coming into here, which just might be because bullets are flying overhead over here as well. And you got more suppression fire coming in from that boat as you see those tracers flying around. I'm a little worried about Blue 4 though, because they're really investing in moving everything on this side, which means they're going to get locked down in these open areas, and Op4 could really counter all of this. So you still see some suppression in the smoke. You got to remember the Dishkas. There's 250 rounds per Dishka across 5 boxes, so 1,000 rounds total across all of them. I think one of them has been left in here, though. No, they might have pulled it out, actually, or found a way to scuttle it. But, I mean, all of that heavy fire right here, it's going to be really nasty. And you've got now all of Alpha potentially coming off of this area. And you see some fire coming in over here. Might be a misidentification. I think Charlie's purpose is to sneak in to take that position out, and the rest of these guys are going to try to push in here. You're probably going to see some bleed through. This force might push through this force here and get to that final objective in the rear, but then they're still going to have trouble getting here. And then as Blue Force pushing around, this force can either come right here on the tree line and engage, or what, I really don't know. Look at all that suppressive fire coming out as Delta for Blue 4 continues to try to move up. So you're seeing a good amount of suppression here. Blue 4 is gaining ground, but as you're starting to see explosives firing back and forth, you see that the Moz rounds are causing some damage here, knocking some people out. But the UGLs on Blue 4 that are being fired by the GP25 systems are doing quite a bit of damage as well. More AT going back and forth. Helicopter flying really fast to provide proper harassment, but it's not high enough. But look at this. I've been seeing, that's the third guy I've seen get knocked out from an AT round here. That's also destroyed the Dishka up here. Looks like Rodrigue woke back up over there. There's another unconscious guy here, but he's woken back up. But that's keeping everyone's heads down here, which is minimizing the effect of Op4 suppression against Blue 4 as they push up. But it might be, how do I word it? It's being used effectively here, but Blue 4 still have a lot of open ground to cover in these sections. So we're going to have to see if Blue 4 does the smart thing and pushes forces around this side. But Op 4 might be thinking about that, and they might set up a flank play for this picket force to potentially start hitting the flank of this group. And I'm going to be honest, if they start cleaning up this group and are able to push left or right in a defeat and detail style strat, I think it's over for Blue 4, in all honesty. Because the rest of Blue 4 are just going to be caught in the open. Op 4 is going to hold their positions, maybe even start counterattacking. But there's not a lot. Now you got that Alpha 1 Elite team fighting these guys here. They're trying to pick off people in the water. Naf's getting knocked out by Vagrant and a double by Dooley. Finished off with a GL. Wow. So Stark's holding back. You've got Falcon maneuvering around. These three are basically the entire northeastern cover here, as they've got a pretty powerful team of forces coming up here, because you got players like Vagrant and Dooley here leading the line. I'm going to be honest, over the past few months, if not, I want to say over the past few years, with how people have been staying and leaving in FNF, the quality of player has definitely increased. I'd say it only goes down when you start seeing some new communities come in and start to get the rhythm of everything, but it's getting a little more like OFCRA, where just that quality of player is really, really high, and when you have the direct firefights, it's not clear who's going to win in these simple one-on-one engagements. It really just becomes a numbers game and a volume of fire game. But now you got Bravo initiating the flank here. There's one pick-off. They're firing at other guys and forcing them to get in the position, get down here. Buffy's trying to turn and engage. You got more smokes firing. It's just a mess everywhere around, but Falcon, he's going to be using the reeds, isn't he? And he's got an RPK with a red dot. UH-60 coming in for a close firing run. Doing its best to hit the fortified positions, but it's not enough. That's a really good angle for them, because they're keeping all the thick forest right under them and in front of them, with the exception of this spot. But there's no point for Op 4 to be there anymore, because they'd probably have all hands on deck making this defensive line. So I'm really, really concerned about Blue 4 right now, because again, you've got all this open area. You've got support assets, but they're not really assisting in the right directions. If anything, you'd want that boat over here to help this team push around, to cover against anything flanking right here, but they keep doing these large arching areas. Helicopter is helping, but with Bravo 1 for Op 4 now pushing around, Bravo 2 coming around to join them. This is the flanking attack that Shy needs to win this. But positioning on its own right now, that also denies Blue 4 the ability to push around. And look at the aggression we're seeing right here. They're going to be really quick to push up. So unless Blue 4 turns and engages this force immediately, I think this is the beginning of the end, in all honesty. Op 4, they do have a few skulls. Blue 4, same deal. I feel like Blue 4 should have some more manpower, but in reality, they just have them all so closely congested here. And that is going to allow for this counterattack to do a lot of damage. Falcon is still alive on this flank. I believe he's right down here. No, he pulled way back, but yeah, he's got Bane with him too. I mean, those are some of the deadliest players to fight. Bravo 2 now providing a bit of a distraction here as they took fire, immediately smoking. This is Scandi Recon. I completely forgot Bravo was Scandi for Op 4, which is why you're seeing this level of aggression here as they commit to this counterattack. Blue 4, they've pulled in. They're trying to hold the defensive line. You got some GLs coming in. You got more bodies being formed. And it's just a GL fight right now. You're hearing more Moz rounds firing. If only they had HE rounds, it would be a lot more effective. But Op 4, they only have a small defensive force here, but there's so much open ground here for them to lock down. And they've got some really powerful elite units on the flank right here to hold these guys coming in. That boat needs to be incredibly supportive. Otherwise, it's not going to do much. Falcon getting hit a few times by that 7.62x51 minigun, but it's not enough. Stark might be trying to find a flanking action here. He does have the SVD. If he could get some pickoffs from the gunners on that boat, that could help change the game. More GLs coming up. They're landing close. They could be ranged right, as long as they adjust. There it is. So you just had... Yeah, there's an explosive trap right here. I'm not sure if that was a Moz firing, or I think that was the helicopter sniping that objective itself. but that has been done. The other objective is in this tent, which I don't think Air's going to be able to get close enough to engage properly before getting 18. But now you got this aggressive push coming in by Blue 4 here. You got this last little bit of open area. Op 4 in a little bit of trouble. They do have a rear guard here as well, but this might turn into too many Blue 4 forces pushing this at once. And if they close into proper GL range, I mean, you're seeing them getting picked off right here. And you're hearing some of those GLs land behind them, and you're seeing the fragmentation cause them all to take damage here. So this might still turn around for Pierce if he can get enough forces to push through this corridor. As this force acts as a picket line for Scandi Recon, these guys could potentially break through and get in, but it's going to be a very close fight. It's really in Op 4's favor right now. Look at this, Burton coming up and immediately getting blown away by a 240 Golf. Grenade getting thrown around here. That might kill Whiplash. Nope, they bounced further down. Op 4 need to use their grenades now. Spiky getting caught in a crossfire here between two forces. More grenades being thrown up. The time left is 26 minutes. This is not going to go down to time. Yanni just dropped someone there. Oh, but Ronnie Killer getting the flank on Yanni. You got Joseph trying to come around and flank the Op 4 guys pushing around right here. I think Op 4, Bravo, they got a little too loose right here, caught in an open area, and Blue 4 set up a proper defensive line here and was able to properly counter. I think a grenade just nailed a dude up there too. And now you got this whole area smoked here. Blue 4 is making this aggressive push up the hill. Blue 4 is going to get into grenade range and just tear this defensive sector apart. Oh, man. Yep. Yep. Not surprised when you get that many people charging up and the defenders aren't ready for a push like that. They're just going to get absolutely torn apart. Azuki getting another kill. Azuki has been one of the recent front runners here in multi-kills, actually. And he is just rocking it. He knows how to balance his GL and his rifle. He's only got 2 kills right now, but we just saw him get a lot of dropping there. This is just a brutal push, and I think Pierce might have just been able to rally his forces to make this aggressive push here. Azuki getting the 3rd kill there. Because now Op 4 is down to a small garrison here. They've got 2 squads full of forces coming in. Blue 4 over here have been cut to ribbons. Only 3 guys left. They've gotten a few Op 4 guys. But these guys don't have any reason to set up a defensive line. And Iander just sniped the helicopter. Not surprised. That is what Iander is incredibly good at. And the chopper just pretty much got iced by him. No surprise whatsoever. And I think Iander just got shot. But you know what? That's okay. Hey, Boo. You okay? I do not have a stapler up here. Or I might actually. A mini one? Yeah. All right, but this is where Op 4 is going to have a lot of pressure. They could get their flanking forces to come in as well. Because it's a blue stapler. I've had that forever. But we're at the climax, baby Boo, so. Yes. Ooh, woo. Anyway. Blue 4 pretty much knocking on Op 4's final objective here. Massive amount of forces coming in. And Scandi have been pretty much countered right here. Blue 4 did the right thing just to set up that defensive line. And Op 4 didn't fold their forces in time. Really, you just had 2 forces in the battle line just turn and engage the flanking forces. And then the central force was able to just push through this middle cover, get right on top of the defenders without them realizing that they were being pushed. And it's just turning into a slaughter here. Pierce was able to counter it. I mean, good for him. Now we gotta wait to see how Blue 4 continues their advance here. Hey, hun, do we have orange juice? Cool. Oh, perfect. Huh? Maybe. I had another recipe in mind, too. I'll tell you later. All right, Azuki right on top of the cache here. Last objective, yeah, Blue 4's in the line. We have an explosive specialist right next to it's GG. This is the end. Yeah, there's the satchel. It's GG. Well, Blue 4 really rallied that one. And that's it. Like I said, when Piers hits, he hits.